We would love to welcome you to the Build Your Success podcast today. Here at the Build Your Success podcast, we like to build you so you can build others. We do that through our coaching, training, and speaking events, but we also do that through guests we bring to the podcast. I'm excited today to introduce my listeners to the founder of Swig. Her name is Nicole Tanner. I found out about Swig through my wife and daughter. My daughter lives in Oklahoma City, and when we visited there, they were bragging about these drinks from Swig. So you're a legend in our household, Nicole. Welcome to the podcast today.
I love it. Love to be a legend. I don't know if I'm a legend, but I love that they love Swig is what I love. That's amazing.
Yes, ma'am. So will you tell our audience first a little bit about yourself, your background, and then about Swig?
Yeah. So I'm a mom of five beautiful kids that are now adults, between the ages of 30 and 20 years old. And with those kids, I have five grandchildren and between the ages of 4 and 2 months. And the grandma life is the best life. So I love spending time with my family. I love the outdoors. Um, yeah, I love being with my family and outdoors. I love hiking. I've hiked through Grand Canyon several times, and just I love a good Diet Coke too. I love a Diet Coke with lime. That's the reason why Swig started. um yeah, I have an amazing life. Started Swig um in April of 2010, and it's been an amazing ride ever since then. And I don't know how much of that story you want to hear. But yeah, I created it because of a need that I saw was missing out there in the marketplace. I have a good beverage and connection and a drive-through line.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, give us a little bit more context on why you started Swig. What was the motivation for that?
Yeah, so I would go to Sonic all of the time for years, to get my Diet Coke with lime fix because they had the foam cup that held your drink colder longer, the good pebble ice that was that crushed pebbly ice makes the drink taste better, in my opinion, than just big chunks of ice. And I would go there for that for my drink fix. And a lot of times, the line was slower because they're cooking and prepping food, so it'd take me longer to get through. Again, I'm a mom with five kids, and back then they were between the ages of little to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And I was busy taking them all the places, and I just needed my drink fix, and the line was slowing me down. Or other times I felt like a number in their drive-through line because I was coming there on a very regular basis, and I didn't feel like I mattered to them. And so I knew that I would appreciate that connection in a drive-through, and that others probably would as well. So yeah, I mean, there was just something missing in that mark, and that feeling as I was coming through their drive-through. And I thought, well, I know I would appreciate something different and better. And so why not create it? And it was really just from, like I would appreciate this, and then knew that others would. And of course, let's make a business out of it, right? But yeah, that's how it started. Is I feel like there could be a better way of getting my drink fixed. I know other people would feel the same. So that's how it
Well,
started.
congratulations on starting a business, number one, and then growing a business is amazing. So talk a signature question that we ask here at our podcast. What does leadership and being a leader mean to Nicole Tanner?
Oh man, leadership is everything. I don't have a business or a brand without my leaders in the store. They are why we do what we do. They're on the front lines every day. That's what we call it. The front lines of just making drinks, and you're getting messy and dirty, and it's hot and you're tired. So it is the front lines of drink making. But they are the reason why we have a business and a brand. But developing leaders is huge to us because even scaling without your leaders doesn't work. You need the leaders in all the aspects. And so as we have really ramped up scaling, swigs throughout the US, we need leaders that are ready to plug and play of like, hey, how would you like to move to Texas? We're building out that market down there. And we have 15 in the state of Texas with probably 200 more. So we need leaders who would love to go build the brand, and they now have a career. So we usually start out our team members. We call them team members. We don't call them employees because we're all part of a team. I'm not going to ask them to be doing anything that I wouldn't do myself. If you see me in a store, Brian, I will be making drinks, working the line, taking orders, working with the team. They get a little nervous when I walk in, and I'm like, please don't be nervous. I'm your friend. We're a team. Let's rock this line, you know? So being a part of a team and growing leaders is huge. They start at 16 years old. It's their first job, usually. And we teach them leadership skills. We teach them how to do certain tasks and lead the team with them. So they start out team member, shift lead is the next step. Again, they're leading the shift, they're leading the team, and then assistant manager. So they're leading the store, placing orders, leading out in goals and things like that. And then management, they become a manager. Some of these managers are only 18, 19 years old, and they're running $1 million locations. So, but again, they started at 16 and we've grown them into these leaders and then, let them fly. And then they get to a point where they're ready for the next step. And it is a director or oh my gosh, area regional manager. That's what I'm trying to say. Regional manager, where they are in charge or supporting, I should say, 5 to 6 locations to make sure that those new managers are hitting their marks and leading their team, always leading. And then they grow to a stage where they're like, okay, now you're an area director and you have like 25 stores that you are leading out and helping them to lead out in their stores. So it's all about leading. We lead by example, always lead by example, and always do it with love and concern, but also with goals and aspirations and helping them to hit those goals. So leadership is everything to Swig. We don't have a business without it. So we grow our leaders. I oftentimes say we now are a leadership company that happens to sell an amazing drink. So
Wow. I love hearing that and hearing that there's an actual career path in the drink making industry. Like, when I started in construction as a 17-year-old kid, a lot of people thought I was on a dead end road. And I discovered there was a very rewarding career. It sounds to me like if you can start out at a store and work through that progression, you can become an amazing leader. And I would assume at a nice income.
yeah, they have these careers now. Who would have thought? It's very surreal from my point of view, from store number one with like 15 team members to now we have like 1,700 team members. So, but it's more, I mean, that's amazing, that number, but it's seen the growth in these amazing team members and the leadership. Some are director of training. Like we need all the leaders. So we build our team. I tell managers, the minute you become a manager, look for your replacement. And they look at me like, why would I replace myself? I'm like, no, because when you need to go on vacation or for whatever reason, that store is totally fine because you've got your leaders in place and the people who care. Find the people who care like you care. And so then they're ready to go to the next step, to the next level. And they have careers. Like some of them, are single moms. Some of them are college kids that were going to go do something else. And they're like, I'm staying with Swig because there's opportunity here. And really cool from my vantage point to see that we are growing leaders and creating careers for a young generation.
Nicole, that is awesome. As I hear you say that, and talk about, looking for your replacement, I'm reminded of a leader one time I heard speak, and they said, you can't take the next step until you invite someone to the step you're on. And
Hmm.
that was powerful for me to understand. Wow. Yeah. You can't take the next step till you invite someone to step you're on. In fact, I've also heard that old saying that there's no success without a successor. And
Hmm.
so, recognizing potential in other people and making that person realize we want you to elevate and we want you to bring others with you. What a great message of leadership. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
During my show prep, I looked at some interviews, looked at your website, and I saw that you are very intent on the culture of Swig. I want to hear from you how you transfer culture to your franchisees. And what I mean by that is, some of these entrepreneurs have their own business model, their own team, and now they've got to become part of the Swig culture. Tell me how you execute that.
Yeah, culture is everything for us. And part of my new role is kind of a culture keeper. So I can walk into any of our locations and I can tell right away within 5 minutes if the culture is off. So it's too quiet. There's not a lot of talking between the team members. They are afraid to kind of like make a move. We want engagement in those stores and coming up and talking to me and talking to the team and talking to that customer. And so culture is everything for us. It is, you can be a culture breaker or a culture killer. And the culture killers can really take a store down fast. And so we really try to make sure we always are building on culture, that we are way more than a drink, honestly. We are an amazing brand of being a part of something really special. That's the culture. We are all part of the same team. We are something that is super special, that we want to make sure that we are the best part of that customer's day every single time, because we don't know, everybody has something that they're going through, everyone. And so at Swig, we'll always take your order person to person out there, in the heat, rain, snow, whatever. But we want to meet you where you're at, that customer, get to know you, get to know your name, your order, and just be a part of your day, be the best part of their day. So that culture starts with, out there in the line with the customer, but it also spills into the store as well. And if it isn't jiving inside, it won't jive outside. So we're a part of a team, we're a part of something special. We want you to be a part of something special. But as we spread that Swig love, our happiness in a cup is what we call it, to the world, that culture has to stay strong. And it's a team feeling. We don't have bosses. I don't even like to say management, because we're all part of the team. We all have to have, our duties and our lanes so that we can get there faster where we want to go. But we're all a team, and we have to stay that way as we grow, so that there's connectivity and teamwork and just everybody working together side by side. And you'll see all of our management executive team, even on opening days, grand opening days, we do 3 free days when we first open, so that everybody can try us. And we hope once they try us, they love us and don't want to go anywhere else. Like they didn't know what they were missing in their life, and now they have Swig and they get it. So we do 3 free days, and you'll see our executive team, me, my COO, CDO, we're out there taking orders, directing the line, making drinks. That's where we are. And that's our culture.
Oh, that is amazing. You said a lot there, but one of the things I want to key in, and I think listeners should hear, if it's not jiving on the inside, it won't jive on the outside.
Mm-mm.
And think about that. Even in the board, if you're in a corporation, the boardroom, if it's not jiving in the boardroom, it's not going to jive out on the floor. It's not going to jive out with your customers. I love that. That's really, really good thought there. And then you also talked about, you going to these stores, kind of reducing that stress, saying, "Hey, I'm just here to help. I'm one of you. I'm part of the team." That's setting that example of culture. And I think that's so important. Tell me about a story where that really worked for you. You got to a store and you're going to help them. What's next?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's an everyday occurrence for me, honestly. I go in to get my drink, which is called the Founder. I don't need a drink named after me, Brian. I'm not that cool. But when we started our Save the Cups program, which is our breast cancer give back, we pay for women, give them financial support for women fighting the fight of breast cancer, because that's what was done for me. I'm a survivor. So we have a Founder drink. And so anytime I go into a store, I'm going to get my drink. But it's not so much about the drink. It's about being there with the team and going in and helping them through a stressful line where they may be short staffed today. And I'm going to jump in and help them. And I'm cleaning up and lifting them up. I'm like an hour later, I'm like, "You guys got this? You good? Okay. All right. I will see you next time." So that's an everyday occurrence for me. In fact, don't put me in a boardroom. Meetings are important. Put me in a store. Put me in one of our locations with my team, with my customers. That's what I love. That's the joy in life. But I'm trying to think of a particular moment. There's so many of just going in and seeing leadership and finding the ones who care. I can usually spot that pretty quick too. Of like, I see them leading out. I see that they they're taking care of that customer like I would, and the team, they're just taking initiative. And that's amazing. I'll give you an example. I'm thinking of a few. I had this woman who's just a couple years younger than me, and I'm older. So this is not for the faint of heart when you're on the line in food and beverage. It's busy and hard. But she came to work for us, and she'd had a hard time in life. Just some hard things, a death in the family and a loss of a business. And so she came to us and wanted to manage. She wanted to lead a team again. And I said, amazing. Come in here. I would love to have you actually, because she just has those skill sets already. So I'm like, I could see her being such a great leader. And so she came in. I remember the first couple of days I go into the store and I'm like, how are you doing? How's your feet? How's your back? And she's like, I am so tired. I'm so tired. And my feet hurt. My back do hurt. My back hurts too. But she says, and with tears in her eyes, she said, you have given me my purpose back in life. And I can't thank you enough. I now have purpose and I have a team and I have a family. So that was like, oh, wow, that was so amazing. And now she is our director of new store opening. So she took one of our stores to the very top. And now we take her to all of our new locations and she sets them up perfectly to win from the start. So yeah, that's a huge success story for Swig.
Sure is. And that you're there with them, asking those empathetic questions. How's your feet? How's your back?
Yeah,
Knowing the challenge of that. I mean, being there personally for hours at a time, filling
yeah,
drink orders and serving customers. That's just amazing. Well, I
yeah.
mentioned to you before the show, and I'll tell the guest here, my daughter is a fan of Swig. She lives in Oklahoma City. That's where we were introduced to Swig. So I text her, called her before the podcast, said, hey, what do you want me to ask the founder of Swig? And she said, when are you coming to Florida? I'm like, Brittany, you live in Oklahoma City. You have a Swig, but she wants to share it with her friends and family. So when are you coming to hot and humid Florida?
And I love it. I love it. And I love that she wants to share that. You know, when you find something that is so good and you just love, that is what Swig is to people. And with TikTok, we just opened a store in Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. It's a franchise location. I asked so many customers in line, how did you hear of Swig? Because hello, I started it in St. George, Utah, 15 years ago, and they're clear across the country, and it's TikTok, and they want to be a part of it. They want to experience Swig. We Everybody can do exactly what we do, Brian, and they do. There's a lot of competitors out there, hundreds. And then you have everybody sells fountain drinks, everybody sells drinks, every establishment. So we have to make it fun, different, special. And that's what we're creating even online, like through social media, and they want to be a part of it. So they'll come and they wait in these 20, 30-minute lines just to get a free 24-ounce drink. So it's pretty incredible. That's our culture as well. And so I love that she wants to share that with her family and friends in Florida. That is who we are. Like, come be a part of us. We want you. We want to serve you an amazing drink, but do it with a smile and get to know you. So that's who we are. So Florida, we turned on franchising 15 months ago, 16 months ago, just barely. So we just grew corporately. I could have franchised years ago. The need was there. People were asking all the time. I knew we weren't ready for it. We didn't have the training. We didn't have the base. And Swig is like my sixth baby. And so I protected that culture, that team, so that when we do franchise, that culture is still going to exist in Tennessee, in Florida, wherever we are. So Brian, we turned it on 15, 16 months ago. We have already sold 500 units of Swig units. We did it in large groups though, so that we can support them better. We could have done onesie twosies, but again, I want to protect that culture and that team. So we did it. We only are supporting 25 groups instead of 500 groups. So we did it intentionally that way. But Florida has probably 3 or 4 groups that are franchising Florida. So Orlando, there's other ones. I need to dive into my map to see. I'm not familiar with Florida, but guess what? I will be. I'm excited to become familiar with Florida. But I would say by the end of this year, we'll have some in Orlando, and then there'll be a lot more in Florida next year. So we are at 76 locations as we speak with Swig. Only about 8 or 9 of those are franchised. So you can see how we're just barely starting the franchise trajectory. That is going to hit it's going to hit the gas. It's going. So next year, we're still going to open corporate stores, and we do that intentionally so we can continue to build that strong base, strong culture. This is who we are. So our franchisees have people to look to and examples to look to for how do we run our stores. So next year, by the end of this year, we'll be almost to 100 locations. And by next year, we will be probably to 160, 170. So, which is crazy to me when it was only 15 years ago. I'm going to wing and a prayer. Please let this work. So Florida is going to have some Swigs here pretty soon. Honestly, the rest of the United States, it's coming.
We are ready. We've been building up the hype here, so we're excited about that. I'm going to ask you one final question, and you've exemplified it throughout this interview. So this is just a way to end this. Your love of customer and your love of the team members just resonates. Everything I watched, everything I did show prep on. Why is it so important to you to love your customers and love your team members?
I love people, and I might get emotional. I love people. I think that some people would say, like, okay, well, you have built a business around like soda. Like, what? No, it's about the people. It is about creating connection, and everybody's welcome here. We want to see you where you're at. I want to help people's day, whether that's with an amazing drink where they feel connected and a part of something, a part of a community, whether that's the give back that I do for breast cancer patients. It's called Save the Cups. We sell drinks and cups, and we're hoping to save women's lives. Or lift a load financially for them, or it's connection inside the stores and to grow our leaders, to help people feel a part of something. Everybody has something hard that they're going through that you just may not see it. And I want to lift people and help them to feel a part of something and to just create friendships. We've had so many friendships. It's so amazing for me to see these amazing lifelong friends come from just working at a Swig. We've had a few marriages just from people working at a Swig. So the people are where it's at. We are on this earth to help others along the way and to build connection. No one should be alone. During 2020, during COVID, it was a hard, scary year. We learned a lot about what we really needed as people. And at Swig, we actually thrived because we were a drive-through, so we were essential. And so people who hadn't tried us came and tried us because we were one of the few places opened, and the connectivity was still there, and they were craving it. So that's who we've always been, but it's just fun to share that now with the world of like, we love our people, whether inside the store or outside of the store, or come join us, whatever. We want you to be a part of Swig, whether a customer or a team member, because we love you and we want you to be a part of us.
Wow, that is so amazing. What a great mission you're on. And you're passionate about it. It's obvious. So I just appreciated this conversation with you, Dan. I know the listeners will enjoy it as well. And it's going to be a podcast my daughter will listen to. So I'm excited about that as well. So, hey, shout out to Brittany on the podcast.
Yay, Brittany.
All right. So for our listeners, and Nicole, I am going to ask you about a young leader to recommend for this, but you'll know that we started the Voices for Leadership book a couple years ago. We've had over 80 authors write chapters for the 2 volumes that we've done. But today we're launching the youth version. So we're looking for young people 17 to 22 that can write a chapter about leadership. We really want to see these young people and show what they're doing. I've volunteered for high schools and realized we've got some amazing leaders in this young bracket. So we want to highlight those folks. Nominate those authors at voicesforleadership.com. And they're going to need a sponsor. They're going to need a letter to testify about how they're doing as leaders. And then we will consider them for our next book, Volume 3 of Voices for Leadership. Thanks for listening to the podcast today. Remember to build yourself and then build others.